Hey, see you later.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Loud Spot. I'm your host, Sebastian, right out of Oklahoma City. I am joined by my co-host tonight, Southern Flame Don McIntyre, in the building, not in my building, in her own building.
Hi.
And then we're hanging out with Alonna Weaver from 570 Press. How are both of you ladies doing tonight?
Fantastic.
I'm doing pretty well.
That's good. I'm excited you're here, and I noticed. So 570 Press, is that just online, or is that also like a magazine?
Well, currently we are only online. We're looking into eventually going into a magazine, but as of right now, it's more cost efficient to stay online because people unfortunately don't really buy print too much anymore, and that's the sad reality of it.
I know. I miss print so much. Like, I miss being like in the 90s and getting like a magazine. Even if I wasn't interested in the magazine, I'd pick it up and look at it anyways. And that's what drew people to watching or to reading it. And being online, you have to search for it.
Right, exactly. You know, I just recently picked up a hit parader from 1997 at an auction, and I was like, you know what, this is a piece of history. I have to have this.
Yeah, absolutely. I love novelty, like anything like from the 90s. If it's there, I will pick it up. So give us a little bit about, like, in a nutshell, before we dive into it more. What is 570? Sorry, a little dyslexic, I think, right now. What is 570 Press all about? What do you do?
Well, we're all about supporting local and national bands. We're based here in the heart of Pennsylvania. So, you know, we have a pretty big music scene. It's mostly like rock and punk rock and metal. So we were just really into giving bands that may not have a chance to be featured in like alt press or anything like that, you know, kind of an outlet that they could have. So we're really all about that. We have been fortunate enough to feature some national artists. And, you know, we just want to give everybody a fair shot. We feature businesses, artists, photographers, the whole 9 yards. So pretty much anybody who has any kind of art form can come to us, and we 9 times out of 10 will support them.
I have an art form. I have an art. So would you do hip hop artist, or have you done hip hop artist or country artist, or is it just mostly rock and just rock genre blanketed?
Well, a lot of the genres we get submitted are rock and metal, but we have had some country, we have had some hip hop artists. You know, I like rock and hip hop personally. I'm not a huge fan of country, but I still respect people that do country music. So I always give them a shot on, you know, our page, and I always give them a fair and honest review. And they know going into it that I'm not a big country fan, but you know, I'm supposed to be fair with them.
If someone comes on with a country like, you know, you're my favorite country band I've ever had on here. Just tell them that. John, do you have any input on that?
I did. Well, I had a question I was going to ask. I seen that you were doing something called the Big Break, and yes. I was wondering if you wanted to elaborate on that, because that caught my attention.
Well, we were involved in this event called the Big Break, and what the Big Break is it was originally based in Colorado, and a gentleman by the name of Eyal. I'm sorry, I'm gonna butcher his last name. So, so his name is Eyal, and he contacted me. I was originally supposed to be a sponsor, but you know, with the pandemic and everything, I didn't really have the means to do that. So we just ended up, we're gonna do some promotion for him and everything. And what he's doing is he's gonna have bands enter in online, and you know, there's going to be, I think, 3 rounds, and they have to submit a homemade music video. Once they do that, then it goes into another round, and then it eventually culminates in a battle at the band's live event, which is judged by Josh Balls of Motionless in White and Aaron Bruck from Breaking Benjamin.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's cool. That's exciting.
Yeah, definitely.
He also strange and unusual. So what is it like working with those guys? Have you talked to them much yet? And they're judges, right?
Yeah, they're judges. Yeah. So I have met Aaron a couple of times at a show as kind of like the person who's just like promoting it, like on 570 Press. Yeah. I haven't talked to them much, but I was fortunate enough. I did get to feature Josh on my podcast a couple of years back because he lives his business is not too far from my house. So we were up there, and I got to meet.
You're a horror film fan, so I knew that you probably was in there.
Oh yeah, of course. And the gentleman who played Eddie Munster was at his shop, so I got to meet him at the same time. And I got to feature Josh, and Josh is a really awesome dude. He does so much for the local scene, and he's super, super involved.
That's fantastic.
That's awesome. So you also have a podcast then?
Yeah.
I'm sweating now. I'm like, shit. Show's over. Goodbye.
Jack of all trades.
Yeah, no.
The girlfriend episode, I loved it. I watched it. It was great.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's a new little offshoot me and my cousin started doing. Because obviously we love horror. I mean, I have a whole horror tattoo sleeve, so.
And being in press and having an online presence, interviewing bands, you kind of also have to have a podcast because it's going to drive people to, and vice versa, you're going to drive people to both avenues doing what you do. Now, you did say that, or I read anyways, that it started kind of on accident. That wasn't really the plan you were going with when you started 570 Press. So talk about that a little bit. How did you accidentally start 570 Press?
It's a really funny story. I am a lot younger than I look. I'm only 22 years old. I graduated college in 2019, 2 years early. So I was fresh out of college. I was about to intern at a local radio station. I was a music major. So in my area, there's not many careers as a music major. You're working in a radio station or you're doing video production, and there's no in between. Mm-hmm. So I was approached by an acquaintance of mine, and he said to me, "Hey, do you want to start a media magazine?" And I was like, "No, like I am not a people person. Like I worked in retail for 7 years. I don't like people. Okay, as terrible as that sounds, like I love
discount for you. No discount.
Yeah. So I said to him, no. So he contacts me about a week later, and he says, "I have this band for you, and it's a band from here in Pennsylvania called Blind Choice. Check them out. Shout out to them. They're awesome dudes." And he says to me, "Well, I want you to try. I want you to interview this band." And I said, "Hell no," at first. So he sent me one of their records, and I listened to it in my car. I was on my way to work, and I was like, "Okay, I'm really digging these dudes." So I called the guy, and I was like, "Yeah, you know what? Tell them I'll do the interview." So I'm sitting in my mom's living room with barely any light on me and all this noise in the background. And I'm like trying to talk to these guys. I have no idea what I'm doing. But once I finished this interview, I was like, you know what? This could be something I like to do. I'm going to give this a shot. And then that's how it started. So
journalism and interviewing people on like a podcast platform is quite different, right? Because I would be a horrible journalist. In fact, you know how when you're on YouTube or on like your podcast where you got to put like what the band's about?
Yeah.
I literally go to like their about page and I copy it. And then I give author credit to whoever like the website that I found it on.
Yeah.
I think I was much better in my like early 20s though. And it's like speaking another language. I'm 38 now. You just kind of lose it over the years. And I'm just like, I don't even know what to say. So I'm like, oh, that's really good. I could not think of those things. What do you prefer? Do you prefer writing or do you prefer interviews like this?
Honestly, it's a little bit of both. I've been writing since I'm like 13 years old. I used to write stories, and for everybody listening or watching, I'm sure there's only a select few people who are going to know about this. So I'm about to expose myself. But there was a time when you could go to a certain section of YouTube and they had all these stories, but they were written in the description box. So it would be a video of nothing and then just a bunch of writing in the description box. I was one of the psychopaths who not only read those stories, but I wrote them too.
Well, if you're into writing them, you're probably going to be into reading them. That's only gonna better your understanding or your knowledge of what to write about, right? I'm one of those that I'm like Sam, my producer, always says, "Hey, I just want the footprints. Just give me the clip notes. Give me the clip notes, and I'll go." I was one of those though in high school when we had to write the book reports. I wrote like the first chapter, the end of the book, and I just kind of I would like kind of skim through and fill in. I always got like a B though. I was always good. I always got a B. I faked it till I graduated. So.
Right, exactly. I've always loved writing, but I think the one thing I like more is I like to meet bands and I like to connect with bands, because I feel like as a teenager growing up, I idolized bands like Pierce the Veil and Nirvana and Bring Me the Horizon, and they always felt so far out of reach. I mean, clearly Nirvana was out of reach because there's no bringing back Kurt, but you get my point. Like, they always felt so far out of reach. So when I started interviewing the bands, I was like, you know what? These bands aren't so far out of reach. This is something that I love, because I used to watch all kinds of band interviews on YouTube all the time, and I'd be like, yo, that's so cool. Like, I wish I had, the audacity to do that. And now that I do, I'm like, you know what? I like writing, but I kind of like this a little bit better.
And I was the same way. I was surprised when Sebastian asked me to be on the show. It kind of caught me off guard. I was like, but I'm not really a people person, but let's. Yeah,
exactly. Exactly. Like I said, after 7 years in retail, I am bitter.
You talking smack, Sebastian? You were fixing to say something.
No. I was thinking of something funny to say, and I was like, well, I couldn't really come up with something. Like, I'm not that I'm not that witty. But I wish I was. I was thinking of something funny, and I was laughing in advance. Like, I was already laughing at something I was going to say, and I couldn't figure out what I was going to say. So I just didn't say it.
I've been there.
I'm just horrible at this, I just make stuff up. I want to go back to your first interview though. So there's noise in the background. You still loved it though, and you found a passion for it, right? From the very first interview. So what was your nervousness or hesitancy besides not being a people person? Were you scared that you were going to ask the right questions? Like, did you prepare for it, or did you just kind of wing it?
I was actually really unprepared because I did not know when the interview was. The guy kind of just sprung it out on me. And I just told this story to the band recently too, and they found it hilarious. I find it hilarious. I was in the grocery store with my best friend, and I was looking at animal crackers, and the guy texted me, and he's like, yeah, the band's ready. And I was like, oh shit. And I got in my car. I drove home. I came in the door. I was like, hey mom, I'm doing a podcast, so be quiet. And then my cats decided to start fighting with each other, and it was just a whole big mess. But I think it was more that I was unprepared because, I'd grown up watching these interviews with Dan Rather and, dare I say, Brian Stars. I mean, unfortunately, I was one of those kids, but, and I thought, okay, well, if they can do it, so can I. But then once they got on, I was kind of like, okay, what do I do? I have no questions prepared. I was just in the grocery store looking at friggin' animal crackers.
That's how you started. That's how you start the show. Hey guys, sorry, I was with the animal crackers. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you not find it more comforting now, seeing that they're so idolized on media? Once you start talking to them and they're just normal people like I am, kind of. Yeah,
exactly.
I'm not gonna fake it and call myself normal, but you know what I mean. They're people, and you're like,
exactly.
Let's vibe,
Yeah, and I mean, every person I've met who's rather idolized, be it Josh Balls, or I was very lucky to meet all of Saving Abel, and I got a in-person interview with them. I was like, you know what? They're just regular dudes. This isn't so bad. I was like, they're I'm a human being. They're a human being. We're here talking about the exact same thing. We have the exact same goals in mind. We're in the same field. We're not that different.
We actually interviewed Saving Abel, and we fucking failed. We didn't fail it. We did the questions were good. We just never did an in-person interview before, so we had too many microphones. We were in Nashville, outside inside this convention center with all these people walking around us, and the questions were good. You just couldn't.
You couldn't hear.
And then Dawn was there. Didn't even know she was in the video, and then we handed her the microphone.
I mean, if it's any help, when I interviewed them, we were up in this green room in a venue here in PA, and I was filming from an iPad, and we didn't have microphones with us at the time because I only just got like portable microphones and I didn't test them yet. And my friend was standing there, and she was like reading the questions off her phone. And I was just like, "Yeah, this is good." And then somebody commented on something. I was like, just blurting the comments out. I was like, you know what? These poor men.
Well, I guess they're used to do. I guess they didn't say too much. They're used to doing shitty interviews, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Sports about it. We had a great time.
Yeah, it was fun, and those guys were super cool. I'm happy that we're not the only ones who kind of. I mean, I think ours was pretty bad. At least you could probably hear what you were saying on yours. Were we kidding? But that's okay. You know, it's fun. We had fun. It was a learning experience for the show, and that's really all that matters. Now, I got a question though. When you first started podcasting, did you have a bunch of unnecessary equipment? Like,
no.
I did. I had a bunch of unnecessary equipment.
No. At the time, all I had was an iPhone 6S camera. So I was hoping and praying on some days that it would work. I only recently got this lighting and microphone set up and portable mics and cameras and the whole 9 yards. But that was only after I really started taking it seriously. Because like I said, in the first interview, I was like, it wasn't something I wanted to do until I did it. So then I was like, okay, this is serious. Like, I got to start putting some money into this.
Yeah, that is so awesome. I read that somebody asked you what your favorite interview was. And do you remember what you said? I don't remember what you said. I didn't write that part down. I just wrote that someone asked you that. It was on your bio on your page. Do you remember who that band was?
I don't remember, but honestly, if I had to pick right now, I'm probably going to have to say it would definitely be a band called Only the Strong from I think they're from Manitoba, or is it Alberta? I know it's a province in Canada, but they were awesome, and the music is incredible. And I also had the privilege of meeting Eddie Reyes, formerly of Taking Back Sunday. So that interview is pretty up there too. Yeah, that one's pretty up there.
Because what I was going to say about that, I don't think that was the band. It could have been, but I would say that if someone asked me that question, I would be like, it's probably going to change in the future anyway, because you interview more bands and different interviews change. But also, I would be scared to answer that question. I would like. Because there's some people that have really good interviews, but I don't know them, and some bands are just okay, but I really like the people. And I'm like, man, that'd be kind of a tough one to respond to. So when I read that you had said that, I was like, man, you know what? I need to up my game a little bit. Maybe I just go out there and be like, this is my favorite band. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, exactly.
So you got your degree in audio engineering, and that was kind of the path you were following.
Yes.
Before you start. So your plan was it to be a radio DJ, or what do you call people? What do you call those jockeys, or what are they called? Radio DJs? Video jockeys, radio DJs?
I don't know. Video killed the radio star. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
DJs, I think.
Yeah. I don't know. Just like a radio DJ.
What advice would you give to people just starting out that does not have a clue or a degree when they're trying to get started in this kind of business, or just as a hobby?
Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. And don't be afraid, if it's something you don't want to do, try it, because you may end up falling in love with it. And you don't have to make it into a career. You could just make it into a side hustle. You could do it into a hobby, but there's nothing like sitting and talking with people and hearing their stories. And then you're kind of like, wow, this is so cool. Like, you trust me enough to tell me your story. Like, this is so cool.
Yeah. There's a big difference between the stage personas and who they actually are.
Oh yeah. Yeah, exactly. And, and, to anybody just starting out, I would say, don't get discouraged, and do not try and feature, national bands when you're just starting out, because you want to start somewhere. But you don't want to jump right into national bands because it can be very, very overwhelming. Because some national bands, now a lot of them I've met are really cool, but some of them can be assholes. And you just kind of want to surround yourself with good people and kind of get a feel for it. Even, watch interviews with Dan Rather. As cringy as it is, watch Brian Stars, watch Loudwire with Graham, just.
And don't be afraid to be an asshole back.
Exactly. Exactly. And if you're doing like a virtual interview, the chances of you ever seeing those people, if you're an asshole back to them, are slim. So, just stand your ground.
Yeah.
That's good advice. I'll go with this one. Do other podcasters or people that want to start podcasts come up to you and ask you questions about how you started? And do you know people that have asked you that want to start that have just never taken that jump to actually go ahead and put their face out there?
As shocking as this is going to be, I don't get that often. But my cousin did want to start her own podcast, and that's how Dual Friends came to be. She kind of, didn't really know what route she wanted to go. She wanted to be involved with the horror genre, but she wanted to do a podcast. And I was like, okay, so here's what you have to do. I'll co-host it with you. But I did have another person ask me, some advice to start a podcast. I don't know what they ever did with it. I never really saw a podcast come out of that. But it happens less often than I expected it would. I thought somebody would stop me in the street corner and be like, "Hey, can we take a selfie?" But that has not happened to me yet.
You know what? No one took a picture of me, but somebody did recognize me at 7-Eleven. Because I was like one time, it happened one time, and all they said was, "Hey, aren't you that guy with that podcast interviews bands?" And I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "Cool, man." I said, "Here's a sticker." I had a sticker in my car.
See, that happens to me at shows more than it happens like in the general public. Like I'll be at a show and some random stranger just comes up to me. They're like, "Hey, aren't you that girl that runs 570 Press?" I'm like, "Yes."
Yeah, and that's so cool that you're able to have both outlets. Like when I first started, I didn't do any research, and I just now started listening to some talk shows. Now that I kind of got my own thing, it's been a year. I listen to like Howard Stern a little bit because I think he's kind of a cool interviewer. He's kind of a weird dude, but he's good at what he does, So I'm like, hell. And he flows so well. And I haven't seen any of your episodes yet, but this week while I'm at work, I'm gonna go ahead and watch. Are you on YouTube as well?
Yeah, YouTube, Twitch.
Okay. I'll go watch them and kind of check it out because I'm very curious to see how your show goes. It's exciting. It's exciting to start something new. And I want to talk about how you got involved with Ricky Wells. Now, he is a business partner of yours, correct?
He was. He is not anymore.
Oh, he's not anymore. Okay.
No,
okay. I didn't know. I didn't know that.
Yeah. No.
So you still have business partners, though, right? In 570.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and I do have 2 other business partners.
Okay, and are they all journalists? Both journalists.
Yeah. So my cousin is one of them, Jamie Weaver, and then I have super awesome columnist, journalist, whatever you'd like to call him, and his name is Ray Mione. He just joined us in February this year, but the 2 of them are really my business partners. We kind of, convene, and then we have a girl by the name of Emmy. She kind of does like our pictures and all that fun stuff for us. So we work together as one unit.
Is there any kind of band, or is there bands that you would turn down? Do you listen to the music first to make sure that they're appropriate for your show, or make sure that you want to interview them? Or is it kind of like they reach out to you, you're going to give them a shot?
If they reach out to me, I'm going to give them a shot.
Okay.
Honestly, regardless, if I like their recent album, regardless if I like their genre, if they want a space to come and talk about their music, I will give it to them.
How often are your shows, and also before I forget, because I will forget if I don't ask, how often are your shows, and do you get blown up by hundreds of bands all the time wanting a spot?
Yes.
Yeah. So isn't that hard to kind of go through? But let's go back to the first one. How often are your shows?
Our music chat is once monthly.
Okay. Oh, wow.
And our Dual Friends podcast is bi-weekly.
Okay,
that's only because Dual Friends. That's only because Dual Friends is new. We're trying to bring the music chat back to like 3 or 4 a week, because we did have 3 or 4 a week, but it was just kind of easier for us to manage our personal lives on top of the page and work and everything if we did it once monthly. But as of now, we have 2 coming up like within a week of each other. So I think that'll kind of be the little push we need to get back into doing that as often as we were.
Okay. And I saw 4 categories on your website. You have music reviews, you have music reviews, artists and bands, show reviews, and interviews. So music reviews, is that just hearing somebody's new song and giving your own personal kind of opinion or take on the music? And and this is why I love having Ray as one of my journalists. He is very to the point. Like he can listen to a record and pick out what he likes, what he dislikes, done. Me, I'm like sitting here, I'm like going track by track. I'm like, okay, in track 1, here's what I like. Okay, in track 2, here's what I don't like. And it's like a nice even balance, because he's short and to the point, and I'm just like over the top, like in detail. That's awesome. And then artists and bands. What's that about? What's the artists and bands part of the website?
Artists and bands is basically like press releases, events that would be coming up. Pretty much just anything that they need help promoting that we can promote. Like if you come to me tonight and you tell me you have an event tomorrow, it's definitely not getting on the website. But like if you give me enough time to get it on the website and do a press release, it'll be on the website.
Okay, and then interviews, obviously, is do you now when you interview a band, do you also write out all the questions and answers for your website, or is that just stay with audio, video?
I used to write them out. I wrote them out for 2 bands, and it's very tough to do. So sometimes we have submissions that the artist is not comfortable doing a phone interview or an audio video interview, so we do it via email.
Oh, really? Yeah. So you just email back and forth. Somebody asked me, somebody wants to email me a questionnaire from some magazine, I forgot what they're called. And I was like, sure. Honestly, though, I don't want to take the time to write it out. I'm like, I don't want to. Like, talk to me in person, because I don't feel like sitting there and thinking about it and I'm going to overthink it, and it's going to be quite not. It won't be as fun for me to do, anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you got to have fun and enjoy it. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I prefer the audio video interviews, but I'm not opposed to the email interviews, right. And that's because a lot of times I'm already familiar with the band and I already know what I want to ask them. So I just have like a general like consensus that I go off of. I'm like, okay, I want to ask them this, I want to ask them that, and I go through older email interviews that I had already done, and I'm like, okay, that was a good question. Let me pull that out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's super neat. Dawn, did you have any questions that you wanted to go in before we kind of give her the stage to any last things that she wanted to? I know I always put my co-host on the spot like that. Any last questions? Sorry, that's what I did.
No, I'm actually just wanted to state how proud I am of you for just jumping in there, and you're at such a young age to do so.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And you're so successful, and just the motivation and drive that you have is impeccable. I just did a little bit of reading up on you and was like, wow, this chick is awesome. So yeah.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate that. And my mom always says, God helps those who help themselves. So you have to,
right.
You have to want it. It's not just going to come knocking down your door. You got to go out and get it.
Right.
Yeah, you can't just wait for something to happen to you. You really got to put yourself out there, and you've done that. And I don't know if I could have done it at such a young age. Also, I'm a dude, and I was very immature when I was like 22. I still am immature. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, me too.
Sebastian, we have a great time.
Yeah, I do have a fun time. A little immature, but I do have a pretty fun time being immature and being on the show. And I also love podcasting. But I do want to give the floor to you to talk about anything that you maybe wanted to say or questions we didn't ask. We're coming up at the 30-minute mark. Oh, it's already been 30 minutes. Literally, it's already been 30 minutes.
Wow.
And, you're like 20 seconds over.
Well, let me go over a little 30 minutes. I don't like to go too much over 30 minutes. But what is something that we didn't ask that maybe you had planned on talking about Obviously wasn't Ricky Wells, my bad. But
it's okay. It's okay. Yeah.
But anything else that you may want to bring up that we didn't go over?
Yeah, so this Friday night at 8 p.m. we have an interview with the former vocalist of pop punk band O Weatherly, who is now known as Daisy Face. And September 5th, we also have a podcast coming up with Oliver Baxter from Broadside. They were made famous on like the Warped Tour scene. So I got to meet them back in 2018. They signed my cigarette pack. I don't think they ever forgot that because they said they've never done that before. So really excited to bring that up and see if he remembers that. He probably won't, but
I do have a final question though. Has there been any band that you have been nervous to interview before they got on camera with you?
Yeah, honestly, I think the only one I've ever really been nervous to interview was when I was talking with Eddie Reyes from Taking Back Sunday. And that's because he was such a crucial member of Taking Back Sunday. And like, I have an older brother. So I grew up like listening to like that whole pop punk thing, like Good Charlotte, Finger 11, Taking Back Sunday. So like, to me, I was like, holy shit, like this guy's actually going to talk to me. Like, wait, is he out of his mind?
What's that song, Cute Without the E? I used to love Taking Back Sunday. I mean, I still love Taking Back Sunday.
Yeah.
I used to. That was an awesome band, dude. That's so crazy because you don't. You're in your early 20s, right?
I am 22. Yes, I'll be 23 in November.
You don't really find a lot of early 20-year-olds that really even know Taking Back Sunday is, or like you really don't.
Yeah.
I'm happy you had an older brother.
Yeah, exactly. So AJ, if you're watching, thank you, because I would have never, and Simple Plan, like they are still like my bucket list. I have to have them on my podcast one day. It will happen. Just saying. Yeah,
Simple Plan would be cool. We had a Bowling for Soup on, and I about threw up before that.
Oh,
that episode. Yeah, once it started, I wasn't nervous. Huh?
You got butterflies.
I know. You know what? That was the first big band I interviewed, and I was like, "What do I ask them?" I used to ask about like these little local bands questions. I'm like, "What am I going to say?" Like, "Oh, when did you start your band?" Oh, I don't know.
The one question that I've always had, and I will ask Bowling for Soup one day when I have them on my podcast: are they bowling to earn soup or on behalf of soup? That's what I've always wanted to know.
Oh, that's deep.
Yeah. But yeah, you can check us out anywhere. We are on YouTube, we are on Twitch. We're working on getting on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We just haven't set up our Anchor account yet, but we're working on that. Of course, we're on Facebook, and the music chat will come back to like 4 a week instead of once a month.
I do elaborate on Twitch, guys. Twitch. I noticed you said something about it earlier. That is the whole new big thing for the media outlets and getting more coverage. So,
fuck Twitch.
People's like,
I'm kidding. I'm just joking. I'm kidding. I'm just not on there yet, so fuck them till I get on there.
Yeah, I said the same thing about TikTok, and now I have a TikTok.
I'm on TikTok. Don, you're not on TikTok. You're not on TikTok, Don.
I'll watch
You're on TikTok. Alana's on TikTok.
I'll watch TikTok.
I'll cut a piece of this out and I'll put it on TikTok. It'll be like probably Saturday when I'm done at home, being bored on my phone. I'll put it out.
I mean, I'm not very good at TikTok, but I have one. So, I mean, it counts for something, right?
I don't absolutely do anything. I just watch the videos.
Yeah, exactly. Like I watched this guy who's like been feeding his pet seagull for like the past like 100 days or whatever. I'm just like,
I watched the dumbest crap on there. I watched guys get ping pong balls and try to make them in cups. I was sitting there watching for like 30 minutes. I'm like, what? Why am I watching this? They got like 3,000 viewers. Like, what?
Shut up, Sebastian. You're practicing for beer pong.
Oh no! It's not even entertaining. It's like watching the fishing channel. I don't watch it, but if I happen to come across it and it's on, I'll watch it. I don't even like it, but I'll watch
it. Exactly. That's how TikTok is. Like, if I see a video, like, I'm gonna watch it. Like, I'm not just gonna turn it off. Like, I'm already here.
Yeah, exactly. Look, and anyone that's watching this on Friday, you can go to 570press.com, I believe is the website. Super easy to find. And you guys have merchandise on. You guys have some cool merch on there that you're selling. You can read up all about Alonna, how she started. It's pretty much all the questions I asked I got from your website. So that's why I did my research. So you can go on there and read, listen to this and then read that. And literally just go through and you can see all the different bands, the press releases that she's put out there, the interviews she's done, the reviews she's done. And that's just absolutely amazing that you're young and you're starting this. And the future, what do you think the future holds for 570 Press, and what do you wish?
I hope that one day I just make enough money that I can give back to all the people who have supported me along the way. I hope to maybe one day be like a national magazine, but
that'd be cool.
Yeah. But otherwise, I just want to make enough money to give back to, my parents and my mom's boyfriend and, all my friends who were like, oh yeah, I got you. I'll go to this show with you, when I had no idea what I was doing, especially my angel best friend who was the one that I was at the store with looking at the animal tractors, and I rushed home and I was like, we have to go right now. Put down whatever you're buying.
Well, that is so cool. And, thanks for answering that, because I don't even think that last question was a full sentence. I think I kind of stopped halfway through. I was it's good enough. It's good enough.
Yeah. We also have a second merch line. It is 570press.bigcartel.com. You can check that out. We have some summer merch. We will be dropping some winter merch pretty soon. I'm excited for the fall. No spoilers, but it's very 2010 of me. So if you were into the 2010 deathcore scene, let's just leave it at that.
All right. Well, Dawn, Southern Flame, Dawn McIntyre. I like saying it like that. Southern Flame, Dawn McIntyre. And Alonna Weaver with 570 Press. Thank you both for joining. Don't go anywhere. Stay right there. I want everyone to go to www.theloudspot.net. Check out all our video. Go to our YouTube page. Please subscribe to the channel. I would love it. Also, if you have Apple, Spotify, do what?
Hit the like button.
Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button, like button. Leave a comment. If you think I'm stupid, to say you're an idiot. I don't care. Say whatever you want to say. And then, if we're on iHeartRadio, we're on fucking everything. I think we're on Deezer. I don't even know, dude. We're on fucking whatever. We're not on Twitch, though. We're not on Twitch.
Not yet.
Not yet, but we are on TikTok. All right. That's all I got. You ladies stay right there. Peace out. Rock on. And much love.
This is the Loud Spot outro by nothing short of tragic. Is this all talk with no action? No. Is this my thoughts with distraction? No. Is this what I bought that's in fashion? Or is this the Loud Spot with Sebastian? Yes. Does nothing short of tragic have us back again? Yes. Does everything that's good really have to end? Yes. A pin post has a pin show, so to get more episodes, make an order, this is over.
Thanks for watching our video. Don't forget to click the like and share button.
Don't forget to go to our YouTube and subscribe.
If you want to listen to our audio and pick up some cool merch, go to www.theloudspot.net. Peace out, rock on, much love.